so today I'm going to be showing you all how I relay my baby hairs and kind of just neaten up my hair a little bit. So I have this unit on and it's a glueless unit, so I made it, and you can pretty much turn, I believe that you can pretty much turn most frontal units into a glueless unit with a band. That's kind of how I turned it into a band. So there's nothing that I did differently about the construction. It's really about like the band placement. So I placed like the band like kind of right here, and it's going from the back to from one side to the other side. So I'm going to show you guys how I lay my baby hairs and like the products that I use to do that. So I use L'Oreal Paris Lock-It hairspray. I use Nairobi setting mousse for my hair, just in terms of like the curls and stuff like that. I use Mielle leave-in conditioner and some water. I use a Denman brush. For my baby hairs, I use a edge brush. I don't have one of the pencil flat irons that I see people use, but I do have a mini flat iron, and that is what I use. I also use a hot comb. So these are things that I use for my baby hairs, and also just like to freshen up my hair and make sure it's where it's supposed to be. I also use a care stick, and I kind of alternate what I use to actually lay my hair down. Sometimes I use this is a stocking cap, like the stockings that you put in your legs. This is what I use here. This is like what I use like if I'm only keeping it on for a short time, or sometimes I'll use like the elastic band that you put in a wig, or sometimes I'll use the wax paper. So it's just kind of how I'm feeling and what type of lay or whatever that I want. So let's get started. I'm gonna start by getting my hair out the way. I'm kind of doing it in so you can see. So I'm gonna get my hair out the way. I kind of already pushed everything where I want it to be already, so I'm just gonna go in and like relay everything. So I'm trying out, like I decided to try out a new type of like way of doing my baby hairs without doing the middle baby hairs, and just only did like the side ones. And so what I usually do would be like around the temple, so right from where your eyebrow is would be like the middle point of those baby hairs, and then I do a little bit, about like an inch on both sides or half an inch on both sides, and then I do another one here coming to the end of your eyebrow, and then I do that one. So that's just kind of like the guideline I use when I'm taking out hair for baby hair. So I basically don't necessarily like do everything the same. I do it based off of like facial structure sometimes, and just what makes sense for how the frontal is constructed. So I start on this side because this is not the side that you'll see like that. So in terms of like laying, it just makes more sense to me to start on this side. I'm gonna take, and I already took some already, that's right here, but I'm gonna take a little bit more wax, and I'm basically gonna push back all the hair that I'm not laying. So whatever it is that I'm not laying with my baby hairs, I push it back with a mix of the wax and some hairspray. So I usually take the hairspray and I'll put it on the top of that, and then I'll dip in it. It's just what works for me. And I also use the hairspray to take some of the hair out. And I actually do apply a little bit of the wax onto my actual baby hairs, because I am going to go in with the flat iron, and I like it to kind of stay. And I do this with my real hair too. I put wax on top of my baby hairs before or my edges, whatever you want to call it. I put it before I use the wax, because it just makes it easier to lay, because it's kind of like more malleable. So I did that, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the other side too. Just basically pushing back whatever isn't going to be used as baby hairs. And like you can see, as you can see, I kind of already did it. And whatever is like excessive, I just trim that. I usually use my tiny shears, but I don't have it with me now. So did that. I'm just gonna go in with my hot comb and kind of go over where I applied the wax to again get everything out of the way. So now I'm going to take my flat iron and I'm gonna go over my baby hairs. And the direction I'm going with this, I saw this on another video from Slay by Jordan, where he said like it just works better to take the mini flat iron and go outward like this, and I do feel like it just works better in making the curly baby hairs, or just making the baby hairs move better. So I just take this and I do an outward curl. I'm just gonna kind of dip back in the hairspray. I like this hairspray because it's very easy to use. Very easy to use. I dip back in and I just use that to hold it in place as I move it around. And there's also a little bit of wax, like I said, on this, so I just do that. Like, I do care about this side, but not as much as the other side. So I just do that and hold it. And then we're gonna go back over all of this with mousse too, so yeah. And then I just put that there, hold it. So this is kind of just me gliding everything, but I will go back over it with the mousse. So now I'm gonna take my mousse and I'm gonna put it back on top of that, and I'm gonna take the comb side and I'm just gonna go over this with the comb side. Like that. Go here. I know everybody has their preferences for baby hairs, but I like a semi-dramatic baby hair. Just, I feel like it frames your face. So, do that. Wipe off any excess if you have any. Just like that. So next we're gonna take our band. Like I said, I'm using stockings today, and I'm just gonna take the stocking and I'm just gonna put it over my hair. I like this because it stretches and it just, I feel like it dries really well. So just do that, and I move it up a little bit just to kind of make sure like the top area right here is laid. And then I let that sit for a little bit. So what I usually do while that's laying is I will take my hot comb and I will go over like the rest of my hair that isn't baby hairs, and I will kind of just lay everything where it needs to be laid. And this is the time where I'm gonna go in and like, let me show you, just gonna go in and put some water on my hair.
Take some water, take some leave-in, just a little bit of leave-in, not too much. And then I would usually take my Burna brush, go through it to kind of clump the curls together, and then scrunch it. Scrunch some, twirl some.
And that's kind of what I do while my baby hairs are waiting, but this is how I lay them. So I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you guys after it's dry. So it's been a few minutes and I'm just going to take the stocking off. So this is what they look like after I take the stocking off. I just comb it out. So I just comb them out. And then I'm just gonna go over this part of my hair with the hot comb. Just kind of make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. And for the most part, I'm done. Sometimes I'll go in and I'll like touch up a little, but that's how I do my baby hairs on my glueless frontal. And this is what we're working with. So thank you for watching.